David Leiker once said in a recent Vimeo conference that HD digital SLRs have completely revolutionized the independent film industry. Due to their low costs, their shallow depth of field, and their high quality images, they've become a favorite among cinematographers and photographers alike. Now, I've done a bit of research about this topic using John Hitchcock's Photography Basics and a few other sources. And I want to inform the audience as to some of the misconceptions in different sensor sizes in digital SLRs and some of the effects that they can have in crop factor, depth of field, and distortion. So first, as an introduction, we're going to look at the size of different size sensors. First, we have our full frame sensor, a 35mm equivalent in yellow. That is what lenses are measured at, that standard. In red, we have our APS-C sensor, which is a 1.6 magnification standard. It's very popular for Canon. And in blue, our Micro Four Thirds. It's a new sensor type, popular with Panasonic, and that has a doubling magnification effect. So first, looking at crop factor, we see a full frame image taken on a full frame sensor camera with a 35mm lens. Now, taken on this exact same lens, on the same tripod in the same location, we have this image taken with an APS-C. We can see that this has the effect of being a 57mm focal length without having the properties of one. And here we have the effective focal length of 70mm on our Micro Four Thirds. Now, depth of field. It's a common misconception that a bigger sensor means more depth of field. Well, not technically, as you can see here. This is taken with a full frame sensor. Again, we move on to our, in the same place, same lens with our APS-C, and we can see that the focus points still seem to be the same. Our bokeh in the back, our out of focus area, seems to be about the same, seems to look the same. And the same with our Micro Four Thirds. It merely seems to be a crop in, a little focus in. Depth of field does not change significantly based on sensor size. What changes is the effect you can have with your depth of field. You can get more effective depth of field with a full frame sensor by the ability to have the same composition and move in closer. What I want to deal with last is distortion. Here on our Martha Stewart cutting board, we can see this shot taken with a 70mm lens on a full frame camera. And we can see a little bit of a pincushioning effect in this image, a little pulling up on the edges. This was shot on a Micro Four Thirds camera with a 35mm lens, which, as we know, has the effective focal range of a 70. But unlike the 70 on the full frame, we don't have that pincushioning effect. We have a kind of a barrel distortion in the center, a little more of a roll in the center, which is the same effect as shooting with a full frame sensor with a 35mm lens on that and cropping to an equivalent area. Again, we don't have the pincushioning effect, and we have kind of a little more of a barrel bulge in the center. So, we know that effective focal length is not the same as focal length. What you're getting is merely a crop of the center, and any distortion is going to be the distortion from the center of your lens. So those are some of the common misconceptions that come along with digital SLR sensors. I hope I've cleared many of them up with you, and I hope you put that knowledge to good use. Thank you for your time.